There's a scene from the Andy Griffith Show that millions have watched, but almost no one truly noticed what was happening. It looks simple, peaceful, just a father and son heading to a fishing hole. But behind that quiet moment was a hidden trick, a challenge, and a secret role that made it all come together. Curious what you missed? Let's take a closer look at the iconic scene and reveal what most people never saw. The story of the Andy Griffith Show begins in a time when America was changing fast. Cities were growing, people were rushing through life, and television was starting to reflect that busy, complex world. But not everyone wanted to watch crime, drama, or city chaos on their screens every night. Some longed for simplicity, for quiet roads, friendly neighbors, and the feeling that life could still be gentle and good. That's where Andy Griffith came in. With the help of producer Sheldon Leonard and writer Danny Thomas, the idea behind the Andy Griffith Show was born, an escape to a world that reminded viewers of the better parts of small-town living. When the show first aired in 1960, it didn't start with explosions or dramatic arguments. Instead, it opened with a gentle walk to a fishing hole. In that very first scene, Sheriff Andy Taylor, played by Andy Griffith himself, strolls along a dirt path with his young son, Opie, played by Ron Howard. Opie stops, picks up a rock, and tosses it into the water. The only sounds are birds, a breeze, and that famous whistling theme that became instantly recognizable to millions. That one scene, just a father and son walking together, did something few shows could do. It made you feel at home. Andy Griffith later shared in interviews that the show was never meant to be flashy. We just wanted to make something honest, he said. Something about real people living real lives. Griffith, who had grown up in North Carolina, poured his own childhood memories into the fictional town of Mayberry. He remembered his neighbors, the local sheriff who knew everyone's name, and the way life seemed to slow down in the summertime. He wanted the audience to feel that again, to remember what it felt like when people waved from their porches and took time to talk on the sidewalk. The cast played a huge role in making Mayberry come alive. Don Knotts as the bumbling but lovable deputy. Barney Fay added humor without ever making things mean. Frances Bavier as Aunt Bee brought warmth and comfort to every kitchen scene, and young Ron Howard as Opie gave viewers a reminder of childhood innocence. The stories were often small. Someone loses a pie or the town plans a picnic. But that was exactly the point. Life didn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Even though the show was filmed in Hollywood, every corner of Mayberry felt like it had been lived in. The barbershop, the diner, the courthouse, each one told a story. Writers worked hard to make each character feel like someone you might really meet in your hometown. And the lessons were gentle but powerful. Honesty matters. Kindness goes a long way. And sometimes doing nothing at all is just what someone needs. The show that began as a beacon of joy and happiness wasn't without its own share of struggles behind the scenes. Let's take you through some of the unexpected challenges that unfolded beyond the peaceful streets of Mayberry. Ron Howard, who played Opie, was just 6 years old at the time. He was bright, sweet, and already a professional. But there was one thing he struggled with: throwing that rock into the water. No matter how many times he tried, the rock kept falling short of the pond, and they couldn't just keep trying forever. The scene was being filmed at a reservoir, and due to environmental restrictions, the team was only allowed to use 3 sterilized rocks for the entire shoot. There wasn't any room for mistakes. In later interviews, Ron Howard reflected on the pressure he felt during that shoot. I remember feeling frustrated, he said. I wanted to do it right, but I just couldn't get it to go far enough. The production team, understanding his age and the limitations of the shoot, tried everything. They practiced with him, encouraged him, and carefully managed the few rocks they had. Eventually, with the right angle and perhaps a bit of luck, Ron managed to make a throw that worked, and it became the shot audiences around the country would come to know and love. This small hiccup on set revealed something much bigger about the spirit of the show. The Andy Griffith Show was always about patience, understanding, and community. That same philosophy extended behind the camera as well. Rather than getting upset or frustrated, the cast and crew supported young Ron. They saw him not as a problem, but as a part of their family, and that nurturing environment helped make the show what it was. But that wasn't the only challenge they faced. The show had started as a hopeful idea to bring laughter, warmth, and a sense of simplicity to American living rooms. Andy Griffith himself had a clear vision. He wanted to create a show that didn't rely on slapstick or over-the-top drama. Instead, he wanted Mayberry to feel real and its characters to feel like people you might know, friends, neighbors, maybe even yourself. That dream required a delicate balance of writing, casting, and performance. Everything had to feel just right. Don Knotts, who played the nervous but lovable deputy Barney Fay, once spoke about how hard they worked to make it all seem effortless. People thought we were just goofing around, he said in a past interview. But there were a lot of late nights, a lot of rewrites. We wanted it to feel natural, and that takes time. The pressure was real, especially as the show grew in popularity. Each new season brought higher expectations and a growing fan base. And yet, the team kept their cool. and stuck to the values that had made Mayberry special in the first place. Off-screen, many cast members dealt with personal challenges, too. Andy Griffith, for all his warmth on camera, carried the heavy responsibility of being both the star and a creative force behind the show. Balancing the demands of production with his own perfectionism wasn't always easy, but he never let it show. In interviews, co-stars often described Andy as a calming presence, someone who took care of his team and made sure everyone felt welcome. But beyond the struggles, the show also had a few secret roles hidden in plain sight, little surprises that most people never noticed. Let's see if you can spot them too. When Ron Howard struggled to throw a rock far enough to reach the lake, and due to filming restrictions, the crew had only a few sterilized rocks available. That is when the assistant director stepped in with a clever solution. He called for a prop man and gave him a secret role, one that would never appear in the credits, but one that would make the scene unforgettable. The prop man was quietly positioned behind a bush near the edge of the water. His job was simple in theory, but required perfect timing. As Ron made the motion of throwing the rock, the prop man had to toss his own rock into the lake at the exact same moment. If done right, it would look like Ron had made the throw. The splash would appear genuine, and the audience would never know the truth. It worked. The illusion was seamless. In a later interview, Ron Howard smiled as he remembered that day. I thought I had made the throw. He laughed. I didn't even realize at first that someone had helped. That was the magic of the crew. They made things happen without anyone noticing.